Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Great Ace Attorney 2, Episode 3, Part 2, where we are going to be getting well on our way into this trial. And, yeah, let's do it. Let's just jump right in. Oh, man. For context, it was Thanksgiving last week, and so I haven't had a chance to play. I believe we are at an intermission part right now. Mr. Naruhodo. What on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather, what on earth were you playing at all along? My hypothesis, my amazing hypothesis, you've been picking holes in it from the start. Sorry about that. But you promised me. You said you proved that Gerada explosion was an accident, not murder. You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands. All you've done so far is try to undermine me. Yes, I did make you a promise. You're right. I said that I'd believe in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there? But I just run through some equations. Yes, you see, it's because my work is incomplete. Perhaps it is. Nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he? Oh. Oh, no. You're right. You're so right. It's all my fault. I have no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster, not just as a scientist, but as a human being. Well, that might be a little over the top. And while we're on the subject, what about Barrick? He's being awful. Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer, you mean? He's a disaster, not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being. Oh, but no, wait. He's the Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore? Glad that's cleared up. Can I double check something with you? Yes? What? The machine and demonstration you prepared, they were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume? There was no trickery involved? I drew the plans for the machine with my very own hands. Every line was painstakingly drawn with a firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true that my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet, but please, Mr. Naruhodo, you must believe in it. That's right, I understand. Counsel, defendant. Prosecution's witnesses are ready to take the stand. Court is about to be in session again. Take you right to the courtroom, please. It all hinges on that demonstration. If the professor's hypothesis is sound as he claims, it leaves him as the only person who could possibly have killed the victim. On the other hand, Mr. Scholes is adamant. A practical implementation, such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify? The prosecution is ready, my lord. As is the defense, my lord. So, Lord Van Zeeks, I believe these next witnesses saw the demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes? Indeed, they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. So the testimony we are about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Perfect, a detective of all people. The prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. Consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual that had been present here on the stage at the time, the accused. Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position is clear. Bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show the witnesses in. Witnesses whose proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth equivocally. It's gonna be, Gina. It's not gonna be Gina. Okay, there is Gina. I was like, why is... I just assumed there'd be two. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court to hear. My name is Balthazar Loon. I am the impresario of all the hot air balloons in the vicinity of the experimental stage. My name is Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund Ormstein. I come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia. I'm very rich. Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective. Even Erlock Sholmes agrees. I was on security duty at the exhibition, and I got to go up in one of the balloons. It was amazing. Gina, again. She did mention that she'd seen the disaster from up in a balloon, actually, didn't she? Clearly. Loved every minute of it. There were 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation stage when the incident occurred. 2 of these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time and saw events unfold in the skies above. It sounded like they were in the clouds. It was only an altitude of circa 60 feet, very low. But you can't see nothing if you fly too high, can ya? 60 feet, about 18 meters then. Thank you for your introductions. Now you will give your formal testimony for the court. Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you that had a vantage point above the stage. It was an incidente terrible. I am only grateful that my balloons were not damaged. There's this huge bang from the stage, and then the next second, another bang in the sky beside us. From amidst the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere. Cage, I fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower. I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower. A most extraordinary collective account, I must say. But I just clarify something. There's a detail in the witness's testimony that I've not heard any mention of until now. Specifically that there were 2 explosions. More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places, yes. When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying the 2 witnesses was around here. There were other balloons in the air nearby at the time carrying out the passengers as well, to be clear. As power was applied to the machine for the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The so-called bird cage that contained the victim disappeared from the stage, and a moment later, the second explosion occurred directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witness. The bird cage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently deployed into the crystal tower. I was very surprised. Suddenly, the cage appeared before my eyes, with the person inside. The blast was so hot, I didn't want to miss a thing, so I kept my eyes wide. I still have lots of money. Okay. Precisely who is this curious infant? I'm told he is a young noble of Bohemian royalty. Apparently he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the great exhibition. John, I'm here in London on a sightseeing trip with my elementary school. We'll have the benefit of a child's point of view in the testimony. We really need that. Then I removed my mask, visited what I look like. Ah yes, I see a delightful face, I'm sure. Ja, everybody says so. Why do you have a bandage on your head? Great disguise then. Okay, that bandage is sus. Point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts of the court, namely, despite any explosion, instantaneous case was successfully demonstrated. Furthermore, that until the arrival of the police, no one approached the crystal tower where the victim fell. Therefore, only the accused who was with Mr. Osmond on the stage could possibly have committed the murder. Yes, thank you, counsel. The prosecution's views on the matter are quite clear. To the defense cross-examination now, please. Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
There were 3 balloons flying above the experimentation stage at the time, I understand. CC, all 3 of them, my bellissimi bambini. They're very popular, signor. Some people will pay £10 for one ride. £10? That's more than my annual stipend. £20 a month. That is my pocket money. Royals have all the luck. I got up there for free, I did. Play the old I work for Her Majesty's police card, you know? I just have all the luck. They're so popular, why would you only be operating such a small number of balloons, though? Because if I have too many in the skies, they could crash into each other. The operators for the balloons are decided by law, with each operator made in a particular area. T, and the zone of a public experimentation stage is the most profitable. The other impressios, they hate me. Thank you, witness. I think that requires a clear picture of the arrangements of balloon rides at the exhibition. Let's hear about what we actually witnessed at the incident. Right, I can fill you in there, my lord.
Hold it!
So you actually saw the accident happen from up in the air. Yep, amazing what a detective gets to do, eh? I'm telling you, Odo, being a lawyer is a bugs game. You should join the force and we can go flying together. You know me so well. Yes, well, anyway. Could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think? Everything. We saw everything. Because we were all up above it all. That dodgy cove climbing into the cage and that dodgy professor pulling all them levers. That's when it happened. That's when there was that massive bang and the cage disappeared. Just like that. Describing the moment the subject's body was decomposed with electricity, I believe. I didn't know what to make of it, but then there was another bang right in my ear. I looked around and there was a huge great fireball right next to us in the sky, and there was nothing there before.
Excuse me.
Master Gotts, does your memory of the day differ? My teacher at elementary school says that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use their full name. Ah, yes, what was it again? Wilhelm Godric Sigismund Ormstein. Just the 4 names. Point is, do you have something to say? Something to add about the Detective Gina Lestrade's last remark, perhaps? Oh, I get right, Odo. It's Inspector Lestrade. Why is everyone have a problem with that address at the moment? That is not what I saw. Oh? Ja. There was a second explosion and it was right beside a balloon. That is true. But I'm sure. Which is why I said in it moment there was nothing there. The next massive explosion. My teacher at elementary school says that since someone else is speaking, if you are rude enough to interrupt, you have the most awful life imaginable. Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy? Just before the second explosion happened next to our balloon, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying in the sky. A green balloon? Yeah, you what? I never saw nothing like that. But I did. I saw it, and you can't say I did. I will complain to the council. I will cry and scream. My testimony is true. I am a Bohemian prince. You cannot say it's lies. That is not allowed. Playing the bleeding royalty card, are you? Typical. This is an orphan who likes to remind people she works for Her Majesty's police. In that case, young man, I must ask you to amend your formal testimony in the interest of core of national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia.
Hold it!
A green balloon, you say? Are you sure about that? Of course I am sure. I am proud Bohemian prince. All these questions are making me boring. I think you mean bored. English is very annoying. The language of my countrymen is far superior. Regardless, though, it is very long on the lie. Lie? Flying balloons never explode. For the same reason the planets never explode. It is logical. Please tell me that doesn't mean logical. It's all means all of Bohemia. might die. I will have the army come and shoot all of you stupid balloons out of this guy. All of them. Here you are, Your Highness. Only all international incidents are so easily resolved. Now that peaceful relations have been restored here in the courtroom, perhaps we could return to the testimony. Did you also see the moment that the cage materialized, Mr. Loon? No, I did not see the explosion myself. However,
Hold it!
did you see that actually happen? No, in reality, I did not. I saw after it hit the tower. There was a grand confusion around the stage as I ran to see what had happened. I was terrorized by the idea that one of my balloons had crashed. I suppose they are his livelihood. When I looked up to the sky, all of my precious balloons were still there. I saw it, though. I saw it summoned to the tower. After all, I'm a detective now. And tell us what you saw, Inspector Lestrade. That's Warlock there.
Hold it!
Was it you who gave the order to keep people away? Use your head, Odo. I've been me. I was up in the balloon, weren't I? Right. Because I wasn't available, it was the boss who had to lay it over there. He was getting shot and kicked all over by the panic inspectors, and he tried to seal off the scene. Real sight to behold, I can tell you. Amazing. Poor Inspector Gregson. Anyway, I couldn't see the cage that well because of all the smoke. And I didn't really want to see, to be honest. I was scared out of me wits. Keep it together, Inspector. What's up, XLR? Oh, fun. That's awesome, XLR. I'm glad that you got to be a part of that. Prosecution believes asserting that the demonstration was genuine. What if it was actually some kind of switch-around trick instead? That would mean that the victim was never actually on the stage in the first place. Two explosions would have thrown everyone watching to panic for sure. I think I need to find out more about what exactly people saw at the time. It has to do with this green cloth. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Yo, what's up, Johan? How you doing, my friend? I don't know if I'm supposed to object with this,
Objection!
but that's the green piece. Defense, they have to object to that. Oh. Dang. Well, my thought was, hey, the kid's actually onto something. Defense would have to accept the penalty given. Glad to hear it, and you would also have to think again. Rip. Yo, what's up, Lambden? Good to see you. You beat the game? Nice. I'm glad that you won't be able to spoil yourself by watching me. Okay, this is interesting. I'm only grateful that my balloons are not damaged. What if it's this? Oh, but he said they... Okay. So... It was. I think it's not that. There's this huge bang.
Hold it!
That description sounds like the moment after the man was beamed. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? It's 20th century for you, I reckon. People actually saw the demonstration with their own eyes. Really believe they saw something miraculous taking place.
Hold it!
I did not like it at all. I did not like wow that sheriff's here calling himself a sheriff. Big canvas. A raincoat. I don't think very much of it. I think it's dumb. Shamsphere is not a serif. I'm way better serif. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I have this green cloth. This kid saying that there was a green balloon. Gina's saying there was nothing. I think maybe I had the right thing, just the wrong statement. Let's try the green cloth.
Objection!
Oops. Alright, I guess that's not it either. My thought process is this green cloth is probably part of the balloon that exploded. But it appears that that's not the case for either statement. Let's see. I need to contradict. I've already pressed everything.
Hold it!
Pretty sure.
Hold it! Hold it!
Not really sure. A switch around trick. The victim was never. Yeah, Gina's is a good character. So, what do I have? I'm having a really hard time trying to think about what else to present here. I don't see how it would be anything to do with the newspaper or the sketch. But this would be an explosion. I think this is part of the balloon that the kids saw. I don't think there's anything in here that would help. This might be far-fetched, but what if okay, so I feel maybe I'm tunnel visioning in here.
Hold it!
Three, but there's only two here. Sketch. Is it the sketch? Diagram showing the relative position of the crystal tower. Is it supposed to be this?
Objection!
No. Okay. My thought process was that the sketch shows there's only two balloons. It's not the sky, it was the green balloon. Cage fell like a stone. I feel like it... I don't really see how the crossbow would be relevant. I don't see how the photograph would be relevant.
Hold it!
Prosecution, genuine. But what if it was actually some kind of trick? The victim was never actually on the stage in the first place. The two explosions would have thrown everyone watching into a panic for sure. I think I need to find out more about what exactly people saw at the time. A trick.
Hold it!
What's up, Escron?
Hold it! Hold it!
So here's what I'm thinking. He's saying that the balloons were not damaged.
Hold it!
There were 3 balloons flying above the stage. So you see all 3 of them. My Bellissimi Babini. They're popular. Some people pay 10 pounds. That's a lot. He's saying there were 3 balloons. Three balloons. And this diagram shows 2 balloons. This piece of green cloth makes me, but I don't, when you examine it, the only thing that you can figure out is that canvas. This thing matches perfectly. Oh, don't give me any reminders like that, please. Evan, don't do that.
Hold it! Hold it!
So I'm a little confused. So, okay, let's look at the statements that I need to contradict. Can I contradict the cage fell from the sky like a stone and crashed at the crystal tower? No, I cannot. I don't think I can. Think it looked inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed. So I either have to say someone did go near it, or that she didn't. She did get a good look inside the cage. So I feel like that's not the statement to contradict. Cage fell. That's not the statement to contradict. It was not the sky. It was a green balloon. Can I prove that it wasn't a green balloon? I actually can. There's this huge. Can I prove that there was not a huge bane? And then the second. And then there's, I'm grateful that my balloon, can I prove that the balloons were not damaged? I feel like I can with this cloth. So I'm gonna go for it.
Objection!
Okay. That one's kind of tricky. Mr. Loon, in your testimony, you said that all 3 of the balloons you had operated at the time were undamaged. Gee, that is correct. If they had been caught in the explosions, it would have been terrible, or terrible. I wonder if you might know what this is. I think it may be. C, part of a balloon, a burnt piece of the fabric of the envelope. Yeah, that one is a little tricky. It's the envelope. Pardon. That is the large round part of the balloon which becomes filled with hot air. It is made from very thick fabric lined with rubber. You do not want it to rip when you are in the sky. Just as I thought. This piece of cloth is found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Master Gotch testified, a green balloon did explode that day. Eh? If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Loon, then your statement that they were all undamaged is clearly contradicts the evidence. No! Balloon exploded that day. Why didn't the man say so? Everyone on board was killed? Oh no. We just spent 10 pounds for the experience. How awful. You let those things crash 50% of the time anyway.
Objection!
Oh no! You have to send me a video clip of it. The point of materialization is sent into a location occupied by a balloon. Causing the balloon to explode? Yes, evidently plausible. An unfortunate traffic accident, as it were, but it changes nothing about the pertinent facts. This I cannot accept. Why not, Mr. Loon? You are suggesting that I'm a liar? That person died in a balloon incidente? There's no need to get fired up, Mr. Loon. The victim was the sole fatality that day. That's right, and I prove it. Balthazar Loon is not a liar. There was no such balloon in the sky. It is none possible. You're saying it's impossible? Why? This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day. Hey?
Objection!
We can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to know anything about this other balloon until now. My lord. Defense calls a reserved testimony for Mr. Loon. I concur. There is clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye. It's imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel. Witness, you will give supplementary testimony about the balloons you were operating at the exhibition. Grazie, my lord. As I said, Balthazar Loon is no liar. Every balloon I had in the skies landed safely. All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers. They fell to the ground explosion. What a catastrophe. You can't get away from the fact that a burnt up bit of cloth was burned on the scene, can you? The coppers at the yard reckon it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage. This stupid irregular was mistaken my balloon that the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway. Your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you. See, exactamente, even if you saw a balloon in the first place. I do not like the sound of it. Very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia. You attack us, we'll fight back. It will be war. A la war. What happened to all-out war? Mr. Lucerne doesn't appear to be lying. That doesn't change the fact that the testimony and evidence are contradictory here. The defense is unable to find fault with the witness's statements. The court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation is good. Change now. I have to get to the balloon of bottom of what the balloon. I have to get to the balloon of what happened here. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes. Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses.
Hold it!
You couldn't just have forgotten one, maybe? Senor. Might not notice if I was given 100 lentils and one was missing. But we are talking about 3 enormous balloons. Do you believe I could make a mistake about something so grand and expensive? I took the liberty of having Inspector Gregson check this gentleman's warehouse. I have the report here. It clearly says a total of 3 balloons. It would appear no mistake has been made then. Clearly Mr. Stroud could have been sent for such a menial task. What, me? I'll tell you what I told the boss. He's saying kids like me can count up to 2. Obviously that ain't true, but the boss bought it and said he had to go to himself in that case. Huh. Like how his hot air balloon is Expanding.
Hold it!
Would be quite a catastrophe if they fell to the ground for any reason, I think. On that note, Mr. Loon, tell me, what is it that keeps these balloons in the sky? Are you idiota? Sorry. That is like asking you, why does a candle burn bright? It burns bright because it burns bright. The balloon flies because it flies. What else? Huh. That must be Italian for I don't know. There are two types of flying balloons, hot air balloons and gas balloons. Hot air balloons work on the principle of hot air being less dense than cold air, whereas gas balloons derive their lift by using a gas that is lighter than air. See, my balloons are filled with a magic gas, I believe. Hydrogen, lighter than air, but highly explosive. Good lord. I do not permit smoking of the cigarettes in any of my balloons. The magic gas is not like fire. Even a small spark of static electricity could cause the entire balloon to explode. What is the matter with you, senor? All that comes out of your mouth is explosionio. I said my balloons are perfectly safe. They have to be, or I cannot eat. None of my balloons exploded that day. I am completely sure. But if you still say that is what happened, you must show me the proof. Alright, so Mr. Loon had 3 balloons in the air that day. None of them were damaged. And what was the one that exploded?
Hold it!
I was surprised to find the piece of fabric still at the scene. Actually, can't you search the areas surrounding the stage for clues? Nah, I'm not into picking stuff up off the ground, me. Always works out way better. Diving into people's pockets instead. So much for the new career path. Mind you, the boss was on his hands and he's picking up all kinds of rubbish from the floor. Thing is, though, the cage went crashing into the Crystal Tower, didn't it? That's where most of the investigation was going on. Even so, I would have thought someone from Scotland Yard would have gathered it up as evidence. Or listen to you, you stumble across a bit of balloon and suddenly you're the best investigator in the world. Pardon? You ain't got a badge, have you? Like this one, I could arrest you with this if I wanted to. I would put it past her. Come think of it, there was talk of some sculpture on the ground at a meeting we had about the investigation.
Hold it!
There was considerable damage to the stages right here, wasn't there? Wow. Yeah, some of the codes while we're watching the experiment was caught in the blast and injured. Good job the yellow contraption didn't keel over, eh? I hadn't even considered that. It seems there was a great panic after the incident occurred. Nevertheless, the police shouldn't have missed a torn piece of the envelope from a balloon. Inspector Gregson can expect repercussions. Like me slapping all his fish and chips, eh? The man's sole pleasure. None of this matters. Let's grab a balloon envelope means nothing did that day.
Hold it!
You mean the color is wrong? Si, senor. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse. And yet, a piece of green cloth was found at the scene, and it's unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I do not know how that can be. For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question. Why not? There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree. You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition? See, exactamente. The senior says it's not one of my balloons. Look at this little ragazzo over my ears and thinking about what he saw.
Excuse me!
Is something wrong, Master Gotts? It's Master Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund Ormstein. It was on the tip of my tongue. Ja, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear it on over Bohemia. Speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. You do not have evidence, Ragazzo, then I must tell your parents to punish you, eh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments. Evidence? What is this evidence? To give a simple example, young man. Photograph, for instance. Tangible proof of what you claim. Bill, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here. Good gracious. What? I had not been up in the balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I'll do lots and lots of photographs of the Great Tower, of the Bohemian exhibit, of the streets of London, of the hot air Zella, of the balloon. Instantaneous kinesis experiment? Did you take a picture of that? Ja, one picture! Really? You did take one. All I wanted was to ride in the balloon. I was not interested in board experiments. Never mind that. Can you show us the photograph? Of course. And you see that I'm not lying. That I saw a green balloon. Then, I see you are all too shocked to speak. Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man. Ja, perhaps you cannot see that it was a green balloon for the photograph, but that is not my fault. That is the fault of the stupid person who made the camera. Wah. Oh, the accent mark on the A's is a nice touch. There's one very bohemian sound. Bah, bah. Very well, they correlated the photograph as evidence. It's not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera. Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. Any case, when exactly did you take that photograph? Then, it was on the day of the big explosion. You don't say. Then I pressed the shutter release. There was this very loud bang, and a hot wind rushed over my face. That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred? If you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I cannot give the flying fig. Lovely language you picked up. As I thought, Mr. Loon's testimony just doesn't quite add up. The young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another fourth balloon. Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility, and it's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the numbers that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure. My guess is that there is no... Okay, what is... Look at this. An arrow, perhaps? No passengers.
Objection!
There's no passengers in there. Unfortunately, the photograph Mr. Goss took can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it can tell us something else, something crucially important. What? It shows that the picture balloon wasn't carrying any passengers. Ah, my goodness, you're right. Surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would be no sense in otherwise. See, there are for pleasure, for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers. Which tells us that the picture balloon isn't one of them. So, when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. This mysterious green balloon. I know nothing. Yet, I can only tell you one thing. This balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine.
Objection!
There are illegal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on his opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition and managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Loon's patch without him realizing. See, the competition trying to steal my profits. I noticed because of the experimenter that was run on the stage. This fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Osborn was beaming from the stage below. Right, so then scraps that fell to the ground after and left them scorched marks. They didn't come from the stage at all. It was bits of the balloon raining down. Of course, no one was in it. It didn't get no attention. A mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers silently floating over the experimentation.
Objection!
This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader. Clearly, it has nothing to do with the case. Its relevance does elude me, I must say. Court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. Prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded. Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No, I can't let this opportunity slip away. Jurors' minds are made up, and not in our favor. What else could this photograph tell us? Is there nothing more we can learn from it? There's more.
Objection!
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait. Please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph of Master Gotts may well be behind one more vital clue. What's that? A vital clue? We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now. Tell the court. What exactly does the alleged clue of the photograph prove? The cause of the explosion. We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion. John, that's right, John, which is not my fault. Evidently, because the birdcage from the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly and explosively ignited. No, that's not what happened. What? It would appear that this photograph requires closer examination. Counsel for the defense, you will highlight the location of the alleged clue in the photograph for the court. Of course, my lord. Look closely, it's plain enough to see. What's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have, in a way that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. We heavily suggest the real reason the balloon exploded is...
Take that!
The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon. Most likely a ray of light caused incidentally on the film. I'm afraid I can see nothing of the sort. If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright line really is. It's an arrow. Goodness, what is that? Undeniably, some flash of light, yes, or a flaming arrow? Oh golly, do you think it might be lightning? Couldn't have been a finer day. I believe we may be looking at fire. Bolt of fire heading straight for the balloon? Like an arrow? Indeed, even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, what are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas as
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height. Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how this exactly what did happen. What evidence? If such evidence exists, counsel, then for goodness sake, present it, man. Evidence explains this mysterious streak of fire that appears at directly for the balloon.
Take that!
This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene. Good lord, is that a crossbow? An arrow dipped in oil instead of lead could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon. Are you suggesting that crossbow was used to deliberately... Mommy, you're right. That streak of light in the photo looks just like an arrow, don't it? Then the explosion of the balloon, it was very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside it. No! Order! Counsel, this is extraordinary supposition. If the aim was to cause a balloon to explode, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question. The noise of the discharge, of course. That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently. Well, yeah, if someone had a shotgun in the exhibit grounds, it would have caused a real panic. With the big explosion. Very high panic anyway, no? I don't like this. I should be pleased to have found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
You understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend. If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued... Well, wait a minute, what are you really saying here? I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up into the sky after all? Or what? My goodness me. Ah, now I understand. That's what that sinking feeling is about. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along. What? Did I just hear that correctly, Council? There's no going back now. The horse is bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage and the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. Amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage had appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. Wouldn't he have Syrian Wait. But if that's the case, his body should be burned to a crisp. And where does the stab wound come from? Now, what I've just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day. Good grief!
Objection!
This is ludicrous. What you described is no science experiment. It's child's play. A contemptible display of stage magic? Well, Mr. Schuldenauer said that the experiment was a scientific impossibility, in which case this is the only way to explain what happened that day. In any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage of the Crystal Tower. If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that? I may put in a word, as a man of magic myself. Such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. Theory number 3. All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Osmond. Having this other man appear on stage in front of the show as a body double. Of course. So in fact, Mr. Osmond must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon from the start. That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the four winds when it exploded. No one would ever have embarked on such a risky venture. Not necessarily. The explosive force of the balloon gas would very much depend on the mixture ratio. Theory number 4. Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode. By controlling the gas mixture ratio, explosive force can be altered. The mixture ratio? Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns. That would be unavoidable. But not to such an extent as to render this whole scene charade impossible. Everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception to make it appear that the instantaneous kinesis had occurred. Well, goodness me. If we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Osmond, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. Ugh. In short, he could have been killed by the defendant who was on stage in full view the entire time. Arg! Oh. He looks too common. This would be very hard for the prosecution to counter. However, antiques can't credibly maintain that Professor Harebrant is the suspect now. I don't. Oh boy, he's gonna get himself in trouble. He's absolutely gonna get himself in trouble. Yep. Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you, Professor. But you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry? What's all this about, Mr. Harebrain? I, Albert Harebrain, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Odio. What? Yes, it was me, with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver. What are you doing? Order, order, order! The defendant explained this in confession. Professor Harebrain, what are you talking about? It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine. You stand there and claim it was all a trick. Oh, an elaborate prank. But where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it. Then it would all be over. The beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the indignity of it. It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor. If you'll just let me, I can prove. Barrick! Yes. I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say. I swear it. So please, ensure the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to and protect my creation. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice at this critical juncture. Here's my learned Nippody's friend. What? His upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in the light of the accuser's confession. You intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery both in order to establish the truth. However, if you acknowledge that the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder, any chance of investigating will be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor's hypothesis preserved. Well, counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter? Professor Harebrained, my client, actually asked of me was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. There's no way to do that with implying the professor's guilt. Do I have my client's life by answering his innocence, or do I uphold my client's request but see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust. It's not long enough. Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nippody's mind? Mr. Naruhodo, no escape here. I have to make a choice. It's impossible. I have to give up on something, but what? The defense asserts that the defendant's instantaneous kinesis machine was, in fact, Alright, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go with the proper scientific invention. And even though it might incriminate him, I think we can prove that he's innocent we're going for it all. We're going for it all. Ah. No, I can't say it. My client places faith in me. I can't just let him down. What must I give up on? Is not the question you have to ask yourself here. What can I protect? Huh? What? Oh, what? What? You can't. What? Excuse me? What? Huh? You can't just do this to me, game. Oh my, why are you here? Suzato-san? Where are you? Hiya! Of course. Ah, my first Suzato takedown in 6 months. It'll be time to talk later, Mr. Naruhodo. For now, let's concentrate on the task at hand. Which is working out not what I have to give up on, but what I can protect. Professor Harebrained. Ah, yes? Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too. Yes, of course. And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Osmond. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? Your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what must be pursued now. Whoa. So, you finally open your eyes. What? As for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer. Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say? Rick? Gosh, I heard him speak that way before. In truth, there is one thing, something I've remembered that's of relevance. What? On the day it happened, just before it began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow. I beg your pardon? Professor, did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like? Taller than me, and thinner than me, with straight hair, straighter and whiter than mine. Let me see, one less lens than me too, a monocle, rather stylish black monocle. One thing in particular will help to positively identify the man. You see, I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention. What? He built the machine? That's right, Mr. Osmond introduced him to me a year ago. He's a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. Enoch Drebber? Does this name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered. Not to name any scientist wishes to hear that man's an abomination. Not to name any conjurer wishes to hear either. Who on earth is he? I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of this nature that I've heard in scientific circles in connection with that name. There's talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascal's after the government's research grant money. When magicians are in need of money, I have heard of them resorting to these underhanded tactics. An acquaintance of mine with experience in such things. I've mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before. Man's an engineer and a magician. Yes, we're dealing with an unparalleled competent trickster here. That's Enoch Drebber for you. Oh. So it's true then. My invention, my great machine, it was just a grand illusion? Considering what we've just heard about Mr. Drebber's character, I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely. Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to. I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted. Which is why you were so opposed to it being investigated, I presume. I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen. But at the same time, I knew that if it was found to be nothing more than a trick than a work of deception, then everything I worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over. I was terrified at the prospect. So you really had no idea then, did you? About the true nature of the machine that was built, and the true nature of Mr. Drebber. Never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it. It's entirely possible that Mr. Osmond and Mr. Drebber are working together to use you as means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money. When I announced my invention to the crowds that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Drebber had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. I really don't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore. Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. You now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Yes, please go ahead. I'm very sorry. All right, sounds good, Joanne. It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Lord Van Zieks, my lord, the court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical. Yes, my Mr. Drebber. Gather information about the man, if possible. I should like him served with the subpoena. With pleasure, my lord. Now, counsel for the defense. Yes, my lord. When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing, and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime for which he is presently stands accused. I understand. Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? I'm so sorry. I was wrong. You were right. I tricked you. You trusted me. I dragged you into my mess. Oh, how did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry. You really have no idea, Professor? About what Mr. Dripper was really up to, I mean? About what he was really constructing? Naturally, that machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis, of all my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it. Alright, in that case, I won't say any more. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands. We must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow. Well, thank you for doing so much for me. Susanoo! I'm so sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo. Arriving late? Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive. Postcard? What postcard? I hid it from you, Runo, so it would be a surprise. Well, did it work? I was surprised, alright, especially when she threw me to the ground. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of slipped out. We can stick to more traditional displays of emotion. I'm so happy to see you. Oh my gosh. Oh, Susanoo. Tuesday's train was late enough to London Victoria this morning, you see, but we made the coachman really whip the horses hard so she didn't miss the whole trial. I was watching her at the gallery for a while, but in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself. Well, I'm glad you did it. Oh, having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So, I'm, delighted to see you back in London. Oh, you're too kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm delighted to be here. That was so nice. I hope I can continue to be of service to you. Of course. So, let's brought you back. President Mikotoba not protest? Let's save all that conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? You know, I made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful. I can't wait. Since I was back in London, hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time, but by my elation, our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. Oh my gosh. Please show on stream. All right, give. Come on, Eric. You can't do this to me like that. All right, Joanne wants me to show this off, so here you go.
Hold it! Excuse me. That's so good.
This game is so silly sometimes. Jeez. Oh, this room has been too long. It hasn't changed in the slightest, though. It's been some 6 months, hasn't it? That's a long time for things to stay so familiar. Oh, I didn't know when you might return. I want everything to be as you left it. But it has been some 6 months, it's true. Your father alright? Sorry, I'm still giggling about that. What happened? My father? Yeah, Professor Mikotoba. I mean, it was half a year ago, but that's why he went back to Japan. There was a telegram he received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever for some unknown reason. That's right. I'm surprised to learn he'd be coming back so soon. Surprised but happy. I think I wrote about it in my letter to you. That it was all a trick. My father is in fine health, and I'm obviously very relieved about that. Well, we're all delighted to have you back. It was quite by accident that I've been able to return to Europe, actually. There's a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium. International Forensic, that's the same symposium on Starheart mentioned. Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound, and all that matters is that I'm here now. After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh? You must tell us everything that happened while you were back in Japan. Yes, of course, I shall. And there's one other thing. Something you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About you-know-who. I know. I'll tell you all that I can. When I first... Yes, thank you, Johan. That is quite something. I can't believe they took the time to animate that, but I'm glad they did. When I first arrived back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain. But curiously, after that awful trial at the Supreme Court, Father's mood changed entirely. Awful trial? Oh, yes. The murderer of Giselle Brett. Oh. You dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susie? Oh, well, yes. Women are forbidden in the courtroom. I had no choice. Wow, amazing. I wish I'd seen it. Don't you, Runo? Yes, I suppose so. I want to play at being a lawyer now. I could wear a false mustache, maybe. I don't think any mustache can hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. Something else I've been wanting to ask you, Miss Susato. It's about the real reason why Professor Mikotoba summoned you back to Japan. You said in your letter it was something to do with that convict's loot we found in Mr. Natsumi's lodgings. That's right. Very large dog collar we found with the bee emblem on it. Seems Mr. Natsumi included a drawing of the collar in the report he submitted about his time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet. How would that be, then? Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. It was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years. I can only imagine that something must have happened during that time. If he refuses to tell me what it was, then I intend to find the answers for myself. I've decided that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Oh, Susie. Lord Shaunar mentioned something about that symposium, too. I think he said that investigative authorities from 40 different countries would attend. Yes, I'm from Japan. My father and Judge Gio have been invited. It's something of an honor, I believe. Professor Mikotoba is the leading expert in forensic medicine in our country, after all, but who's the other person you mentioned? A judge, did you say? Yes, His Excellency, Judge Teshiro Jikoku. You met him, Mr. Naruto, last year in the Supreme Court. You can't possibly have forgotten. Terrible trial of yours when you were accused of murder. Yes, I try to think of that as a positive turning point in my life these days. Well, it was Judge Jigoku who presided over that trial. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy never to see that man's face again in my life. Well, anyway, his father was invited to the symposium. He agreed to me returning to Britain, too. He wouldn't actually arrive until next month, but, well, I couldn't wait. So I played with him, and in the end he agreed to me going on ahead. Yes, about the symposium. It seems as though Lord Shaunar has put an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important. I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Shaunar organized the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving exceptional results, he'll get the job of Attorney General, while senior position in the British justice system. He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institution. That's what Father said anyway. Apparently, it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition. Professor Mikotoba know Lord Strongheart personally then? I wonder. Actually, Lord Strongheart gave me a long speech about this very subject only yesterday. Sort of lost the will to live early on and didn't really listen to much of it. Now trying for you. Giselle Brett. The woman whose unforgivable actions ended in me being wrongly accused of a crime I didn't commit. The murderer, Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, Giselle Brett. That's a name I won't forget for as long as I live. The extraordinary thing is, though, it seems it's a name we should all forget. Sorry? Since the incident, our government's intelligence services have been investigating Miss Brett. Turns out that an Englishwoman by the name of Giselle Brett didn't actually exist. Didn't exist? How can that be? It was a pseudonym. Her real name was Shin? Miss A. Shin. Her name was all our intelligence has been able to ascertain about her. Nobody knows why or even how she came to be in Japan. Complete mystery. That makes no sense. It's no easy task to be except as a foreign student anywhere. What could the woman have been up to? I'm afraid I really don't know. The only thing we can be sure of is that she has some business in our country that we don't yet understand. Now she's been killed. All the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered. I'm afraid so. Aishin, who on earth was she? Why do I feel as though I've heard she was on the list with Kazuma and Dr. John H. Wilson, and I think there was a fourth name, but I don't remember who it was. Oh, this is crazy, man. After my friend Ray's trial, the reporter who actually killed Miss Brett said something very strange. I know the truth. I know you got a hand in what went on. Is that visiting students' fates? Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know if the guy never made it to England. He died on the steamship, and that he'll never. Oh my gosh, Joanne. Obviously, couldn't ask him to elaborate at the time. But later, I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Kazuma-sama. What did you learn? After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, his body should have been unladen at the port of Hong Kong and passed into the care of the consultant staff there. Should have been? Turns out that his body never arrived? It just disappeared? No way am I actually... Not a chance that I'm actually right. No way is this actually Kazuma. And there's no way. I literally said, like, and I'm only, that's only based off of the title of the case, The Return of the Great Departed Soul. I literally, like, it's someone that, like, that he thought was dead, isn't actually dead. There's no way, right? I can't actually be right. The government tried to cover the fact up, it seems. They erected a grave on the cliffs by our hometown. So Kazuma isn't there? Did Professor Mikotoba know about this? Yes, it would seem that he did. But he didn't tell me. They're still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak. I don't believe it. What is this acute feeling of apprehension I have all of a sudden? Thinking back now, some of the things that happened on the SS Berea were definitely strange. Gosh, what if Kazuma never actually... I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? What's up, Hasfar? Hasfar, I love you. Could it be that he's actually still alive? Stop it, Mr. Naruhodo. It's too much to bear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Just thinking about the possibility pains me. He didn't actually die? That'd be crazy. Cast your mind back for a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. When Kazuma-sama was discovered, Mr. Sholmes was there, wasn't he? Definitely examined the body. I remember it clearly. You're right. Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all? Could it mean that Mr. Sholmes had lied to us? There's no reason why he would possibly have done such a thing. What is going on? I love you too, Allie. Welcome to the chat. What? Not a chance, dude. It wants to with hope, but I can't let it because if it turned out not to be true, then I'd be back at the bottom of that awful pit of despair again. I'm terrified of what that might do to me. Mrs. Otto. You know, she's given the idea the thought of it deserves. It's Otto's not we're talking about after all. I probably shouldn't push it now. I was okay. This is what I said in the first game, that it was weird that Sherlock Holmes was on the boat. It's too much of a coincidence. Oh my gosh, but he's in on it? But he's actually in on it. About this paper, Mrs. Otto. Yes, it's all about the Great Exhibition. I've been dreaming about it, you know. Oh, sorry you were going to miss it when you were called back to Japan. So was I. I felt desperately unlucky. This is crazy, but you ran back in London World talking away. It's a dream come true. Perhaps you're not as unlucky as you thought then. Once you help Professor Harebrine out of this terrible situation, we should all explore it together. Of course, we must invite the professor and a good friend, Lord Van Zieks, as well. Your luck might not stretch that far. I guess I can't move yet? Well, you want me to expand with the spade? Thinking back, that spade's been in here since we first moved in, hasn't it? I'm sure I've told you before, Mr. Naruto. It's not a spade. It's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. No, spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel. Great Spade Shovel War rages on. Hi, Iris. Must be about a year ago now. I wrote a really long story based on some of my father's old notes. It's about one of Hurley's greatest exploits. I call it The Hound of the Baskervilles, which, by the way, I found out is an actual book. I haven't read it, but I'm very seriously considering buying some of the Sherlock Holmes literature because of these games, because I'm so fascinated by the mystery. But the Mr. Holmes forbade you from publishing it, and put the manuscript somewhere nobody could get their hands on it. Nobody knows anything about it apart from Hurley and I. For some reason, you knew the title of it, didn't you, Susie? It sounds so exciting. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. Yeah, I want to buy the collection. You wouldn't tell me. How did you come to know it? Yes, but I made you a promise that I would explain one day, didn't I? I think it's time. Oh? Oh? I'm only sorry I've kept it from you so long, Iris. Ooh, I like this music. It was completely by accident that I came to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. It was a short while before we left Japan. I was cleaning Father's study and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There was a label affixed to the box that was written in English. It read, The Hound of the Baskervilles. What? My Baskerville story? Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time, but Father came in and... Susanna, what are you doing? Oh, Father. Did you look at those papers? No, I simply read the label, that's all. Well, put it out of your mind. Sorry? Forget that you ever saw it, and certainly don't tell anybody else about this. Do you understand? Yeah, I wanna read them. I know there's like short stories and then there's actual books. I'd probably start with the books, but what was Iris's manuscript doing in Japan? I have no idea. When I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I would never have guessed that it was an unpublished account of one of Mr. Holmes' exploits. Sherlock and Professor Mikotoba, everyone's connected. Ronhart, when I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions. There's no sign of the big box in his office. That's really all I know about it. I have no doubt that Father has a very good reason for being so secretive, but still, I made up my mind to explain myself to both of you. Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie. So, Mrs. Naruto, I'm ready to start investigating if you are. I've committed every detail about the case of memory. Iris has told me about the disturbing happenings at the Waxwork Museum as well. So, you're fully abreast of the situation already, Mrs. Otto. I expected nothing less, to be honest. I think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Drebber. The engineer responsible for building this elaborate machine that was used to effect his extraordinary trick. Yes, a conjurer's sword by the sound of it. Well, no one in the fields of science and magic. Then, we need to go arrest him. Well, yes, you must know the truth behind this case, so I agree we really do need to find the man. Sounds like it's a case of tracking someone down, which is a job for the police or a great detective. I'm supposed to guess who she might be thinking of. We don't have much time, so we need to get started straight away, I think. Good idea. Well, best of luck then. Oh, you're not coming today? I'm going to Brixton Road shortly for the herb market. Let me know later when you got on, won't you? That was a little abrupt. Oh, the herb market must be strong. All right. All right, let's go get our detective. Oh my, no wonder it's called the House of Horrors. I like to turn on my heels and go straight home. Via the confectionery. Being scared makes you crave sweets? I can understand that. I was looking forward to a reunion after 6 months away, but there's no sign of Mr. Sholmes anywhere. That's strange. He should be here investigating the abduction of the waxwork. Oh well. He'll just have to come back again later. No signs of Mr. Sholmes? Whatever is going on? Well, time to see if we can explore this machine more. Dang, those guys have been up here for a long time. What? Why is... Okay. I know that there were so many people in the world. I know what you mean. It's really packed here today. It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds at this point. Has it? I shut my brain down, so I didn't really notice, to be honest. Gosh, I do wish I had your absence in mind sometimes, Naruto. There you are. I had a feeling you lot would show your mugs before long. Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you're hard at work as usual. Warm greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since we last met. What's with all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning. Not you, Sunshine, the gentlewoman so loyally at your side. Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice. You might be a bit rough around the edges. He's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more. Right, well, that's the untrainee's domain. Oi! Get over here, Gina. She seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Probably giving it a traditional East End training. Gina? She's a police officer now? Amazing, isn't it? He's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place, anyway. She's got the detection bug, if you ask me. Yep, I think she'll follow in my footsteps nicely. What do you mean? I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodaloo to London. Oh no, really? That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted then? Come to see how you're getting along. Not likely, but you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is. France? I'll be working on the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right up my alley. But France? It's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there? That's the way the world works, Sunshine. No, don't go poking your nose where it's not wanted. I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go. What? You're taking Gina to Paris? Well, I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what'll be coming for her? Plus, he's worried she'd slip back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purses. I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruto. I think he's worried about her, the Reaper. Oh, of course. Inspector Gregson's mine too, is it? We haven't mentioned any of this to Gina. Just don't go blabbing, you hear me? No, of course not. Gotta keep that Diamond Diva safe and sound. So all this is over, at least. Oh, you just call him Bloomin' Diva again. Diamond Diva. So you heard that, did you? Right, well, any questions about the scene, you can put them to my capable Detective Diva here. Alright, you heard the boss. Inspector, let's charge in charge here now. Because I better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you've got a new dog, have you? Aww. Isn't he great? Toby's his name. Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable. Yes, the dog does seem lovely. Not so lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. You like not notice Susano, Gina? Hello? Gina. We're actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again. Yeah, alright, it's around here. You do what you like. Oh, that's alright, is it? I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here. Ah, yes, Toby. Woof. See, that exploder must be at the top of those stairs, I presume? I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind. Sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. Oh. It's like I told Oda yesterday, even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What's it called again? Reason we ain't supposed to touch it. The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Know what you were thinking of? That's the one. That's why only them not allowed to investigate it. What do they call again? The forensic something? The forensic investigation team. Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one, yeah? Is it the case that the special deposition has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful with you. Just supposed to get permission from some bigwig or others as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something. I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart, perhaps? That's the one, yeah. Apparently, he's always watching time or something. Now Lord Strongheart's express permission. We can't investigate on the stage. Well, good to know. It was great, well, I had a rotten laugh. It was a new one on me, that. You know, being in court, not spending the whole time worrying about I found out. Sorry, I don't always do the accent quite well enough. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, and those made things off me every single time and all. Just doing my job, Gina. Watch someone else get in the next lot of fun, actually. It was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix. Dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruhodo's client. Yes, I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though. Is the boss of you, so I've all set out to do the impossible. What do you mean? He's supposed to arrest Calvani and time for tomorrow and all. You know, dodgy engineer. What's his name again? Mr. Drebber, you mean? Enoch Drebber. That's the one, yeah? So the police are looking for this mysterious man with a black monocle. I guess they would be. Putting too much on the boss, if you ask me. He says it's giving him an ache. Oh dear, but I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food. Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. I wonder if they've had any luck. He's really fun looking, got 2 eyes, but don't match. Stole a glimpse of a picture of him earlier. I mean, I didn't actually pinch it or nothing. Oh, devil's got it. Sorry, who? Yeah, no, that scarlet and raper or what's always looking down glasses, don't have blood red plonk. Ah, Lord Van Zeeks. He's always had it in for me, that cove. Don't know what was all strong about mine. Probably would have been a pretty good boss as it goes. That'll be the Reaper's apprentice and the detective's trainee. The way I see it, if the choice is between a chip guzzling detective and a chalice doing demigod, you're equally badly off with both. I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that. Well, we put that one to bed. Anyway, point is, everyone at the yard is dead set on following the fishing engineer. There don't seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck. Nothing that can lead us to Drebber at all. What about Toby? Where'd you find that little mutt then, Gina? Oi! Don't be so flaming rude, Odo. Slight overreaction, don't you think? Ain't no mutt, alright. Toby's, how they put it? Oh yeah, a bona fide detective. Sorry? I'll give him a proper time. Everything. It's Chief Inspector Tubby to you. More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he? Oh, so he's a police dog, is he? Police recruit dogs now? I've heard that they're already being used officially in Germany as part of their city policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. So basically, we're gonna have to find a piece of something that belonged to this engineer dude, and then the dog can find him. I have a fairly good sense of smell myself as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered, undergarments that haven't. That's weird. That's nothing compared to this little fellow, Odo. Oh, really? Okay, Rianovsky, that was weird. That was really, really weird. Don't say that, please. Well, what the boss said. Once Tubby has got a good whiff of your drawers, he could chase that to the other side of the world. What? To the other side of the world? I mean, he can swim? Naruhodo, I think you may have missed the point. Rather a wide margin. I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill. I'm telling you, Odo, there's gonna be more and more dogs doing the bit for the police in future. Yes, I agree. Right. One of these days, they'll be barking or they'll not the other way around. Oh dear, sorry, Gina. I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. Anyway, whatever you think about that, Tubby's Britain's first police dog. I found out East End the other day, someone had just jocked about on the street. There you go, I knew she'd lifted him from somewhere. Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? Children and animals. Here's a scorching on the ground that you mentioned. Yes, and that's what's left of the green balloon's envelope. Let's see, all clear evidence of the bloodsmith of the day of the incident. Poor Professor Harebrained. I do feel sorry for him that his dreams have been shattered like this. Someone's well and truly burst his bubble, as it were. Ha ha ha. Oh, ouch. I'm a bad person. I'm gonna come back. I'm not gonna do too much exploration. Hello? Who are you, suspicious lurking in it? This person looks super sus. Oh, who's that standing beside Lord Shotheart? I wonder. Never seen her before. Ah, the young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, I understand. And you've thrown the entire government into disarray as a result. Oh, you mean because of Professor Harebrained's experiment? Sham science being demonstrated at London's Great Exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish, and now the politicians are scrambling to respond. Professor Hickson in Whitehall has been given an emergency briefing. Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble. I know this is your responsibility. The government is entirely to blame for having been taken in. Special dispensation that prevented an investigation at the scene will be annulled later today. Once that happens, my forensic investigation team will move in and deal with the scrap metal in no time. Scrap metal now, is it? Still later than Lord Strongheart. Yes, thank you. Who was that? That was Dr. Courtney Scythe? Sith? Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. She's leading the forensic investigation team's handling of this case. She was just delivering a report about the victim, in fact. Oh, I see. About Mr. Osmond. Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to reevaluate his findings. I don't have time to tell you what she concluded. If you want to know, you'll have to ask her directly. Right in the forensics laboratory. Ah, right. Now, what were you here to see me about? I could give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time. It's not running quite so spectacularly late anymore. What exactly is the forensic investigation team that you mentioned before? The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created the forensic investigation team a year ago now, and unofficially, of course, paved the way. Goodness, a year ago. And next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensics division. Once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly. What do you mean? For too long, those scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. London scum is about to be rounded up and burnt in their fires of hell. Oh my gosh. I intend to see to it personally. By creating the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and our future. Look at those eyes. He means every word. Dr. Sith is an extremely reliable coroner. I officially established a forensic division at Scotland Yard. She will run it as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium, Miss Mikotoba. Oh, yes, my lord. Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan. Yes, that's right. I understand he will arrive at the beginning of next month. Are you acquainted, Lord Stronhart? Professor Mikotoba, I mean. It's many years ago now, but yes. I remember Dr. Mikotoba very well. If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student. It was the year I was born. So yes, 16 years ago, in fact. Mikotoba was a young practitioner of forensic science, and Jigoku accompanied him as a young, promising judge. Punctualist and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part in any way. I didn't think that you were. Dr. Mikotoba studied forensics at one of London's large hospitals. St. Sinners, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Sith was also there then, as it happens. Then, Dr. Sith knows my father, does she? He was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikotoba was here studying his subject for some 6 years in total. 6 years? That's a long time to be studying abroad, isn't it? I lived with my grandmother in those years. He left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years. A rather turbulent time at home. Oh. Perhaps father wanted a reason to get away. What do you mean? Why? Well, clearly something was going on at the time. Sorry, the neighbor above me is making, maybe it's their dog, making some boosh, some boom boom noises. Their dog running around or something. I wanted to ask you about Lord Van Zieks, actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a mass murderer known as the Professor, who targeted nobles and royalty. Is that right? Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper. What? Why? When his brother Clint Van Zieks was murdered, it was just after young Barrick had graduated from the University of London and became a prosecutor. The Professor? What if... There's no way it was Professor Mikotoba, was it? No, it could be. An obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction and the court started disappearing. Rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. London started to say wherever Barrick Van Zieks went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind. Oh my word, so Lord Van Zieks isn't the Reaper? It's the ghost of his brother? Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles. Oh yes, Lord Stronhart. Go ahead. About Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains, if possible. Are you well versed in science, then? Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject until recently. While a special dispensation for legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours after, his team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose, until then, there's no harm in you looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing. Thank you. Being able to look at it is better than nothing. I'm able to see it too. Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls. We are extremely sorry to have troubled you when you are so busy, my lord. I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium, you understand? A new location. perhaps we will go back to the crime scene first. Oh, there's unlimited up there. Try to sneak past me again. I'll stuff your gut with Bell's fish and chips. Yes, dude, I love fish and chips. I suppose we need special permission. We did. We literally got special permission. Oh, okay. Oh, I did it on purpose to give extra dialogue content. Gina, we were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again. Yeah, all right. If it's around here. Actually, we've just recently been to see Lord Shonhart. Hey, you all, you met him. I was in the Boston Color to go and see him. He waited for 3 hours in the code's office and came back stiffling. Tragic. The Lord Shonhart has given us permission to examine the scene, as long as we touch nothing. Oh yeah, honestly. Alright then, go ahead. But if it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life. So you're still saying all this is above board, are you? I'm sure everything will be fine. It really would be tragic. All right then, there's the stairs. Off you go. Thank you, Gina. These stairs lead up to the experimentation stage. Let's go see what we can find out. Oh my, so this is the machine that was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place. Yes, that's right. Or rather, it was the machine. Well, it's a little worse at the moment. How extraordinary lengths Professor Herbert went to turn in order to obtain the research grant. No, the professor was tricked as well. He didn't know anything about it. Yes, of course. It is amazing though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British. You're right about that. You'll never see such a grand reception in Japan, that's for sure. Oh, look, is that Lord Van Zeeks? I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Mrs. Otto? Already? He is the Reaper, remember? We do well to keep our distance, I think. We have permission to be here from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine. As long as we don't touch anything. You mean Strongheart? Exactly. We can sit here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like. Could have been at the center of the explosion here and it wouldn't have bent her steel wheel. Ugh. Least approachable man in the world winner. 10 years in a row. Strong as Naruto, your country and your assistants stand firm behind you. Lord Van Zeeks. What? Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently your Nipponese are unequipped to read the signs. Oh, I rather... So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited. Well, the thing is... Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate. On the condition that we didn't disturb anything. And yet you managed to disturb me. Ah. Never mind. State your business then. Come to think of it, there are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zeeks about. Least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this. Clint. Was the name of your older brother, I understand, Lord Van Zeeks? You Nipponese, I always have to be on guard whenever you're around. So, you've been investigating me, have you? Oh, no, it's not like that. Well, alright, it is a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zieks family. Tragically, vicious killer took him from us. Professor, you mean? Something funny? That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry? Lackluster work is very much your trademark, isn't it? You're too kind. Are you going to tear all Nipponese with the same brush next? Or tar, sorry. Tell me, what's your interest in this historical incident? As it happens, Lord Van Zieks, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tussaud's Museum of Waxwork by any chance? I am, naturally. I believe that since last month, I feature in one of the displays there for public scorn. Of course, the infamous Reaper of the Bailey would have to be exhibited, wouldn't he? Particular waxwork has been stolen from the place and held for ransom. Particular waxwork, which... Wait, you mean... Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Sholmes is investigating the case as we speak. Oh, they already found the professor. Sorry. Or, like, no. I was unaware of that. Turned as white as a sheet. Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Jepper, already? Surely that goes without saying. Very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on, aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier. According to Professor Harebrain, was a tall, thin gentleman who has straight white hair with a black monocle. So I was just wondering, I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but very much appreciate any clues you could give us. Wow, Suzato-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns. Fine, why not? I have a photograph of the man here in an investigation 10 years ago. It appears he's already had the black monocle at the time. What? Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you shared that with us. We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow. Which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So why wouldn't I show you the photograph? What is it about Lord Van Zieks? I just can't work him out at all. The file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you. Are you alright? Who is this man, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, Lord Van Zieks' apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one? Zao-san can see it too. Lord Van Zieks, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment? With him? Why? Kazuma-sama. Oh, frick! Oh my gosh. Kazu. I don't believe it. Your posture, your presence. It can only be. It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama? I felt something strange the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure, as if I knew him somehow. Can it really be you, Kazuma? The return of the great departed soul? Wait! Too late. What's going on here? What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know the man or something. Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago. Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. He didn't tell you why, did he? The man appears to be suffering from amnesia.
What? What? Wait, does that mean he wasn't wait, is this on purpose? What just happened? Kazuma didn't actually die? He has amnesia? Herlock lied to us? Dude, are you kidding me? Amnesia?
Tomorrow you will appear in court at my side. What? He's to serve as my judicial assistant, or on Lord Strongheart's orders. He'll be in court with us? Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course. Oh, yes, thank you. I definitely saw a reaction there. Which is also gonna call them out like that. It really seemed like it hit a nerve when she called them out. Kazuma-sama. Oh my freaking gosh. What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel girders have buckled and twisted into the blast. And what they call the birdcage is right in the middle of it all. This thing probably opens up. Look at this. Okay, literally, this is so easy. This opened up, let the cage down, and then they had the actual guy in the balloon. Which is though it's designed to open. It does, doesn't it? The floor had opened at the precise moment the explosion occurred. The birdcage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight. I don't think there's any doubt that this was a very elaborate hoax, is there? This wasn't here yesterday. Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he will apparently beam through the air. That's right, the birdcage. According to what Professor Harebrained said in court, it's made of wood. Or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. A wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruhodo? I understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they finished their work. Sadly, not with the body inside it. No, that's right. I know you were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still. This is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. You've already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Zeek's office. I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us. I know. We're going to need to speak to him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems. Well, we could do without that. Alright, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Mr. Zato. Of course. Oh, I'm... Oh, I see. Oh, dub. Okay. Alright, yep. I believe this is it. Dr. Sith's or Scythe's lab. I don't know which it is. Chemical smell really assaults the nose, and there's plenty to assault the eyes in here, too. It looks as though the doctor isn't here. But we're here now, so you might as well do some sightseeing, don't you think? What a seasoned tourist you become, Mrs. Zato. Just have a little look around, being careful not to upset any restless souls. Look at the bottles and the shelves in these cabinets. What an assortment of chemicals. These ones here are labeled highly toxic. That's worrying because there are also things that look like salt and pepper shakers in there. Oh yes, and they actually say salt and pepper on them. Doctor probably spends a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals here sometimes. Life goes on even when you're surrounded by death. A table instead of sharp tools, when you consider each in isolation, it looks quite innocent. But why is that when you put them side by side, it seems so horribly disturbing? It might be best not to ponder it too deeply. Seeing the large tome that's open on the desk does make me wonder, though. How can anybody concentrate on bookwork with this acrid odor? Is it acrid? Odor of chemicals in the air. Yeah, what's up, Keeper? How you doing? You have to have a cast iron constitution or a really terrible sense of smell. Those large jars seem to have pale things floating around inside them. I suppose they're fruit liquors or something. Or like the pickled umbushi plums from back home. Father had jars like that in his laboratory as well. I expect they're human organs in a preserving solution. Probably as examples or some rare medical condition. Mr. Donato, there are some things in the world that it's perfectly fine never to know about. Ever. Oh. As I said, I'm sure they're fruit liquors or umboshi, aren't they? Of course. This is Dr. Sith's death. Oh, I would not like to work at a place like this. Very tiny though, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Imagine how efficiently she must work. The lighting is poor, which is bad for the eyes, and the chemical smell can't be good for you. Not to mention the skeleton watching over you as you work, which is definitely bad for the nerves. Oh yes, those are valid concerns, I suppose. I could just about cope with one-eyed drama doll. Do you know what I mean? But that's all. Or Daruma, sorry, not drama, Daruma. Look at this big, thick book here. It appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team spending, I think. Oh, what is it? Clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, 100 seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. 500? Must be working really hard on dissecting corpses. I don't know. Judicial autopsies are only carried out in certain special circumstances. Scalpel blades could be sharpened, too. It does seem a bit strange. You're right. 500 scalpels a month? What could they possibly be using all of them for? What are you doing? Sorry, we had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so... So you thought you'd snoop around. That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it? Well, what do you want? Lord Strongheart told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body. Mr. Osmond's body, I mean. 500 scalpels a month. So we came to ask you about your findings on Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. Lord Chief Justice has given us consent. I'll tell you what our investigation revealed. When we're done, you must leave immediately. You're definitely coming back in a future case of some capacity. So you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene. Victim Mr. Odie Osmond, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion, and the Mr. Osmond who appeared moments later part way up the Crystal Tower, were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion. That can't be right. If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see, if two people who look very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true, but sadly in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints of the scene made that quite evident. Fingerprints? Not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system. But one day, they will be used as an investigative aid as a matter of course. Oh my, that would mean the instantaneous kinesis actually took place, so where does that leave us? My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions. Instantaneous kinesis is impossible. And yet the body did move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more a mystery. Jeepers. Mama, what is this? Where did she spring from? Or did she just call the doctor Mama? Who the heck? This is a lawyer, dear. Uh-oh. Hello. Pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer. Rianowski Naro. Mama? Yes. Can I cut this one up? What? Good dear Lord. Never seen inside an Easter person before. I want to know what it looks like. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you can very well see. Boring. I think I just had a near-death experience. Oh dear, Mr. Naruhodo, you're as pale as a corpse. Then let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. So what are you doing at the moment, Doctor? Keeping a close eye on things so no impertinent Easterns think they can look around my office. Are there such impertinent Easterns around? How terrible. Yes, you! Doesn't mince her words, Mr. Zah. I think perhaps it's time we left. I'm gonna go to the prison real quick. I want to see if there's anything new here to talk about. Oh, Lord Almighty. What's he doing? He's, oh my, the whole wall in this is covered with mathematical equations. And he's still writing more now. Professor, sorry to interrupt. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. And who is this young lady? My name is Susanoo Mikotoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. Oh, if only I'd met a refined young woman like you sooner. This would have happened. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all. Oh dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upsets you. I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in this court this morning. Oh no! No. The whole thing, the whole miserable affair, it all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot. Professor Hairbrain. What have you been working on in your cell? Oh, ha! You mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see. I simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had at hand. Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe? No, actually, this is my autobiography. Your autobiography? Oh, it was Diddled and Fiddled by Albert Hairbrain. I've found I can represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers with an ambitious set of simultaneous equations. Really? I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see. It's going to be a new serial publication from next month, part 1, an odd birth and odd upbringing. Can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little more about the case? Oh, yes, of course. I've been working through the numbers. I was diddled, I was fiddled by the pair of them, by Osmond, and by that aloof engineer, Drebber. We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? Everything I believed in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Osmond, the kinesis machine, my hypothesis even. I'm sorry it's come to this. There is really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end, there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. No, of course he didn't. When I quit this morning, I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you should have done something wrong. Logically, it makes no difference if you were aware of it or not. Ignorance is the poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. A professor. He believes in me this morning. Barrick did. He believed in my hypothesis. Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing his case. No, Barrick wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. Did he? I think I understand now. Why was it he decided to take on the prosecution in my trial, I mean? Oh, I wonder if it's because he's the only one that would actually have understood his perspective. After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even. I feel like I dealt some kind of fishing blow there. If any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Barrick, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense. And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. Barrick today was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that's why he... I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it. What about the whole Reaper side of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea? Do you think he's Ah! Stop yawning, Seraphim. Sorry to say, that does seem very likely, yes. When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the papers I'd written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused. He was so empathetic. In reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems. I just still can't believe it. As the machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic. Probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually. The scale of it, it wasn't just a small trick. Very elaborate feat of deception. All young scientists are full of hope about their begrudging ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money. We want to do research, we can't afford it. Many of us take up barely legal part-time work. We try to earn a few measly pennies to carry on. We go through all of that, only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe. It is, I agree. That's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Osmond is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer. Mr. Enoch Jebber. Is he an engineer, or a magician, or a swindler? Yet it was about a year ago when Mr. Osmond first brought Jebber to meet me at my laboratory. Since then, I've met him many times to discuss details about the kinesis machine, but at no point did you have any inkling that he was an illusionist? Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist. What do you mean? He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's a genuine scientist. He's instantly apparent in conversation. I see. That wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. Let's do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. And there are no clues. Are there any clues you could give us about his whereabouts? I'm sorry, we only ever discussed the kinesis machine, nothing else. Although, just once, I did visit his workshop. What workshop? Jebber's enormous fabrication laboratory where he constructed my great machine. Why? Why did you mention this before? Yeah, Jebber's workshop. There's every chance we might find the man there. Yeah, kind of an important clue there, my guy. You been to Jebber's place of work then? Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place. Plenty of room to construct the kinesis machine, you see. Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. We could just find Jebber there. Well, yeah, definitely. I'm sure. As in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry. I was more than half expecting that. You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there. He blindfolded you? He wasn't taking any chances. The place was incredible, the pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best, a special fresh machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Ah, the indescribable scent of the imported oil. The premiums across the world should forget their secret formula and use that instead. What do you think, Mr. Zato? Do the machine for your next birthday? Never use any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruhodo, and I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor. Don't have a business card for Mr. Jumper, for example. No, it's clearly very cautious, Mr. Zato. I'm sure he would never have. Aha! Yes, I do. He gave me this business card once. It's right here. Look. Let me see that. Etiquette to the wind, why don't you? Enoch Trevor, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address. No. Oh well, I can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. Thank you, my friend. I would like to present this to you. Oh. Keep your abundant air on. Alright, I want to examine... Oh. Wait a second. Oh, wait. I've seen this before. Oh, look here, Mr. Zato. Oh, yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. That's supposed to be because it fell from such a height? Yes, from the height at which the balloon was flying down to the crystal tower below. All about 30 feet, or 9 meters. Even the man inside tragically dead. And yet... What is that? Very smudge here. I think perhaps it's machine oil. Ah, yes, possibly. Professor Harebrant mentioned something about the oil Mr. Trevor uses, didn't he? It was specially imported, very high-quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Yes, that's right, but more important, it's a fragrant of the finest perfume, so excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry, I expect that's just because there's such a tiny amount on here. Alright, we're gonna do... two things. First, we're gonna double check if our good friend is here. And then we're gonna give the scent. Okay, we're giving the scent card to Gina. Hey, give the dog this. About this, Gina? Yeah, I'm still learning me letters at the moment. I know A to E, so if I ain't too much bleeding trouble. Actually, Gina, it's the back of the card that's important. Outcome. There's just a dirty old smudge on the back. That's all. Turns out that this is a very high-quality French machine oil. It has a very particular scent, apparently. You don't say. Let's have a whiff, then. You sure? I don't smell nothing. No, we didn't mean that you should smell it. Oh, right. You mean Toby? Woof. The smell is so good, he can track people over the oceans, can he? Mr. Harebrant informs us that this oil is unique to Mr. Trevor's workshop. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Think he's picked up a scent? So you mean, if we follow the scent of this oil, Toby could lead us to that dodgy kid's workshop. That's right, that's exactly what we were hoping. Alright then, we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that. Wait, when did you... That's a pickpocket. I can lead everyone to that Trevor's workshop. I'll be the boss's boss before next week. Oh, yes, Gina. I'm sure you'll be promoted. Or poor Gregson. Right then, better leave it to me. Sorry, we're going to get going after that dog you need to go right this minute. Oh, but hang on. Someone's supposed to be on guard duty here all the time. Or we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina. All right. Oh, well, never mind. Ain't gonna be me what gets in the neck. He'll be the boss. Poor Gregson again. Ready, Toby? Got that oil scent. Come on, then, boy. See you later. If the scent of oil leads him to that swindler's workshop. Yes, I hope so too. Ideally before the dog swims across the channel to France. Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now. If we could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber. Regina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss, and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months. Yes, it's quite possible he might know something useful. You're right. We ought to find him at Madame Tuspel's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit. Yes, I was told me about his latest unusual venture. Oh, let's get to the content, baby. Oh my gosh. Here we are again at the House of Horrors. I'm afraid I haven't gotten used to the place yet. I'd still like to turn on my heels and go straight home. Via the confectionery, of course. Dustin really is after something sweet today, isn't she? Eek! What's the matter? Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that waxwork. Quite sure it wasn't there before. Looks exactly like Mr. Jones down to the very last detail. Ah, what is it? Oh, sorry. I think you'll find that's the temporary waxwork himself. Ah, the friend of my dedicated employee. Oh yes, hello again. It's Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I must say, I am quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. Chris's waxwork is already back where it belongs. You don't mean... Oh yes, the mystery is solved already. Wow, Mr. Sholmes can really engage his brain when he is hungry enough. As you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties. Yes. His habitual duties? Allures. Do not disturb, eh? Of course, she's Aosan. She looks very perplexed. Well, shoot! Show me the waxwork. Ah yes, the heavy curtains in the middle of the House of Horrors. There's on the other side of them. You just know it's going to be terrifying, don't you? The sign says it's the Madame Tuspel special exhibit. Seems you have to pay extra to go inside. I know, can you believe that? Pay more money as if we haven't been scared enough already. It's not my doing, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't really care what Tuspel says. I really do need to speak to Mr. Sholmes, and I am longing to say hello again. Where is he? I think you might find that he's quite nearby, actually. Oh. What do you... Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I. The world-famous great detective at Waxwork, Sherlock Sholmes. Sanao-san! Oops. My most humble apologies. I thought I died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment, via London. My dear madam, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. As long as it's not of questionable street food quality. I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes? Merely a secret identity, I understand, though the case is largely solved now. Largely solved? We're talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume. Indeed, we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was in the easy proverbial pie. Well, I confess, I'm yet to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food of today, for that matter. Oh boy. That stomach rumble echoed around the whole museum. How did you manage to solve it so quickly? Well, do you remember I said it was largely solved? Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone? Oh yes, it's the most modern invention, allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as yet. This morning, a telephone call was received here from the perpetrator of the abduction. I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned. That's amazing. It's between you and I. It would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event. Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no? Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive. But does that not mean the negotiating was entirely unnecessary? A fact that I must ask you to keep from Madame Tussfeld at all costs. Hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street after all. Poor Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork? We're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh? Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's a swindler who duped Professor Harebrain and the engineer who built the kinesis machine. A swindler and an engineer? Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. We have so few clues to go on. That's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. When you something of the man's appearance, at least, I may be in a better position to help. Yes, Drebber's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I should gladly give you my thoughts on it. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruhodo, stay that piercing stare. What is this about? Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship, your words were very clear. So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. You told us that it was murder, and you examined Kazuma-sama's body. Indeed, and wherein lies the problem. We met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Sogi. You're quite sure he was wearing some sort of mask. He's apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure it was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead. Well, I can only assume I was swept into the mysterious murderous atmosphere for the moment. The fellow wasn't dead at all. Ha 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 ha. Priceless. I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruhodo? No. I can believe that the crewman present at the time made a mistake. Not you, Mr. Sholmes. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court, you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that is all I can say. Sus. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print? It's of Mr. Enoch Drebber, the face of the engineer we seek. Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course. So looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive. Are you alright, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed. What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden. I would suggest, Mr. Naruhodo, will you indulge me? Oh, well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned, and I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Oh yes, the Professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it for a mere 5 shillings? That's a special, one-time only price, you understand. What? The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labor? Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps you could postpone? Price is very reasonable, 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it. Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need only look at my expression. You have to take if it's serious or silliness. I can never tell with you. That's the point. Very well. Couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings. Gratefully received. A special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to pursue it at your leisure. Well, money has been spent, so let's go see the special exhibit. These heavy curtains at last. They're gonna be. They're gonna look like Trevor. Is they gonna look like the guy that Holmes? Either I feel like Trevor's either the guy Holmes negotiated this with. No. Oh yeah, the money. We can ask Gina to retrieve it for us. These are special skills. Pocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? As I mentioned, demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands, or chip living inspectors. Victor Gregson comes off rather well on that list, I think. Oh my gosh, what the? Oh dear, I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here. Mr. Zato, I say turn our heels and go straight home. Really big confess. We certainly can't do that. We paid 5 shillings already. True. Actually, now I'm looking a little more closely. It could money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of the great dealing detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place. Ah, largely solved. The head is gone. Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? Oh, where? We paid 5 shillings. Let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we? Yes, we will get what we paid for. Is that fear or frustration? That's making Zadato-san's voice tremble. Hello, black eye patch. Part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real. A young man in a white overcoat. There's a large shovel in his hand, too. Look. You should investigate a little bit more detail. What a large shovel. He's holding it rather ominously, isn't he? What on earth is the man doing with a shovel in the graveyard in the middle of the night? Mrs. Zato, yes? That's a spade, isn't it? No, it's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. We've been through this, Mr. Naruhodo. It's a shovel. No. Although, we haven't considered trowels. We allowed ourselves to be distracted, I feel. Perhaps we should concentrate on what the man really was doing with this implement. You're going to bury the hatchet. You're right, though. What was the man doing in the graveyard in the first place? That's the real question. What's this here? Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so it was probably a camera. A camera, but it's so small. British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' skin prints? I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. Anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera? I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment the dead body came back as a ghost on film. We'll just borrow this for a little while, I think. Oh yeah, the photographic plate inside the camera, we could see what picture was taken. What a photographic plate. A piece of glass coated in a special illusion that reacts to the light coming in through the lens. Open the cover at the back of the camera. We should find it. Let's have a look. You should see yourselves, Silent. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? Yeah, this guy is definitely, Can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just... Oh, do you think you should be manhandling the exhibits, Mr. Naruto? What back exactly as it was, don't worry. That guy looks exactly like the dude. Mr. Drebber. Ah, what on earth? How can... I don't believe it. Black Monocle. Mr. Naruto is it possible this man is... Yes. It's Enoch Drebber. Color of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably him. Indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes. This man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? Why does the convict behind him have no head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. Then the case isn't yet solved, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved were my words, I believe. I must locate the missing head, top de suite, as madam would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. Very hungry Iris awaits my turn to Baker Street, preferably with rations. Arg. Do you know, though, something about this room? Strange. Strange? What do you mean? Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not? Indeed, they are, Mr. Zato. Do go on. And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... This really couldn't even really have happened, could it? I think it's time I educated you a little about the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. I believe I told you a little bit about the rest yesterday. We did the lives of 5 victims, everyone being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies. Oh gosh, an enormous hound? An enormous hound? Oh my gosh. We have found a big dog collar, bro. After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain, you understand. Accordingly, the professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted. A closed court? So you mean that the professor's identity... As you surmise, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty, but summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins to the rear of the prison where he had been laid. However, that was not the end of the affair. Oh? The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. Came back to life? He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlit graveyard. The exhibit here depicts that very scene as described by the sole witness to those chilling events. There was a witness, but of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Enoch Drebber saw what happened? Holy crap. This is the waxwork model of Enoch Drebber. 10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibbeted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. Sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old. So horrifying. Scared out of his wits, the young Drebber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. And the sheer terror of what he'd seen is said to have been turned his hair white overnight. As shown in the photograph we have of him, his hair is completely white. In the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front news page of the capital. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here at Madame Tussauds. I can quite understand when the man's hair turned white, certainly, but what I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing in the first place. In a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night with a shovel. Yes, what was he up to? The Professor's acts of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had ever been systematically employed as a dog as a weapon of murder. As I can imagine the impact the case must have had. In time, of course, the rumors abated. So too did talk of the shocking witness account of the convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, as a preposterous parlor tale. Why did people stop believing it? Why? Simply because there was no resurrection to speak of. As was established in fact. The Hound of the Baskervilles. Everything that's going on behind the scenes is related to this case. What do you mean, no resurrection? The police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. Comic's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been found following the execution. No, but that would mean Mr. Jumper must have lied to the police and the newspapers. That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society and nothing has been heard of him since. Rather striking, then, that he should ready for service now, don't you think? Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't have come back to life. That's not possible. But Trevor's hair is unusually white, and if that really did happen overnight as a result of shock. Hard to believe the incident was an out-and-out lie. Oh look, the cover came open. Yes, now. There should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, you see. Nothing wrong. There is no plate. It's been removed. Ah, what a pity. Because if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time, just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. We never found a photograph and printed the executed convict coming back to life anyway. Oh, yes, you're quite right, of course. Poor Zasan, she looks devastated. What a wonderful machine. You really love contraptions like this, don't you? Oh yes, anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible. Almost irresistible, surely. Whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. Simply have to take it apart. That's worrying. Yes, Father tells me time of the rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch. Poor Professor Mikotoba. Oh, what is it? On the bellows, just here. There seems to be some very dark red stains. Yes, you're right. It looks like blood, actually. Oh my, I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Holmes, you got anything on this? Nope, you don't. You don't care at all. Must be the killer. The fiend known as the Professor. Yes, I think so. According to what Madame Tuspel said, he killed 5 victims, all of noble or royal blood. The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the miles in this place. I know, it looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. The condemned man, yes, the so-called professor. And there, perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine, but unable to find PC. Merged with the grip as a headless ghost. Do we have to entertain such terrified ideas, Mrs. Otto? Anyway, the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting of it. Sure. Then, perhaps this was showed by absent-mindedly forgot to reattach it. That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it? Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum. That would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Whatever the reason, it means we don't know what the face of
I
the
think you're the fake
infamous professor looks
hedgehog
like.
around here.
Yo.
Happy first Sunday of Advent and the start of Hanukkah. Seraph one bless, Seraph one love.
Oh my gosh. Grace with the presence of the legend. Serial Killer, thank you so much for the 33 months and the well wishes for Advent and Hanukkah. Welcome back to the Slayer Squad. Happy Advent to you as well. Hope you enjoy those emotes. No badge. You're fantastic. I miss your face. Oh, there's something caught just inside the convict's jacket here. It looks like a piece of broken glass. A big piece, too. It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than any normal window glazing, I'd say. Where does a thick piece of glass come from, I wonder? I suppose it must have been made thick. Piece of strength? Why? Well, perhaps the glass had to span a particularly wide area, such as a big building, for example. Well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? We've some of the glass broken, too. You don't mean exactly the Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition. Why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside the waxwork's jacket? Makes you think, doesn't it? A wax model was used to doppel. Okay. Early uncovered savage that the kinesis experiment was a trick. Now I discovered this fragment of glass here in this waxwork. Is it just a coincidence? What the bleeding? No, oh no! What have you gone done? Gina, what are you doing here? I asked Iris, and she said this is where you'd be. So, Gina, not allowed in the museum. Mantis will have you take a position at the waxwork if you're not careful. There might be even more pressing. I still have some flash powder left from 6 months ago. So, all right, Gina, we understand. But please put down the gun. Sorry, I got scared. You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So what brings you here, Gina? What brings me here? What you think? We found it. We found the Dojiko's workshop. What? You found Drebber's workshop? Yep, Debbie's notes took me straight there. Boss and the others are heading over there now in a dag. So come on. Here's the address. I got the boss to write it out. Oh, thank you, Gina. I'll make our way there at once. All right, then. See you there. You go. Don't mind me. I'll just stay here. Being still. What? I know my place in the exhibit over there. Oh dear. Someone's feeling sorry for himself. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes. You're coming. Your words hardened me, I must say. But if I were to shirk my duties here, Madam would have me pay a monetary recompense, and Iris's dinner plate would be empty once more. Forget that, I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once. Now to share the cost to Mr. Sholmes. I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruto. Thank you, Mr. Zato. Right, let's go. Oh my gosh, she has another one? That looks like... Oh, it's another super high voltage kinesis machine. Indeed, it would appear so, though only a prototype, naturally. Ah, what you got here, then? Gina, well done for finding this place. Such little time. You've really worked miracles. It's W, who's a miracle worker. Oof. Ah, I thought you lot would show up before long. Why are your eyes closed? Hello, Inspector. Like he's eating a lemon out of a bag of fish and chips. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here. Oh, what a shame. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place, giving us a chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to a clue that you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say go to Paris with a debt of gratitude I paid now, would I? Thank you. Anyway, if you're open to snoop around in here, I'd get cracking. Or Van Zeeks and the forensic investigation team are on their way here as we speak. Them again. I imagine you've got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Right. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance. You, Schultz! Pardon? They take even less kind of great detectives than they do lawyers. Ha 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 ha! Very droll, Gregson, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an conspicuous waxwork model. Right then, let's see what we can find in here. I'm sorry, Mr. Naruto. That machine is covered by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Pretty serious repercussions if we were to examine it from the Crown and the government. Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. Quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose change dropped to the floor, nothing. Not even a bone for W, my dear fella. Rich people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they? I think they're just these two, Mr. Zato. What on earth is this? An aeroplane, Mr. Naruhodo. One day, scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies. Is that how the trick will be described, is it? Sorry. Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it? Oh, well, this model is, yes, but a real aeroplane would actually fly high in the sky. Well, suspended versus even higher in the sky, of course, because large metal objects obviously can't really stay in midair unsupported. So to you, the solution is ever taller, even taller. Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, the most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say? Present looking back, massager, that's for sure. I don't know if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains would soon go away. It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor. Ah, would you like a massage? No, I'm fine, thank you. I had no idea it was such a grand thing. I think it's becoming increasingly clear. There's much more to this Mr. Enoch Trevor, the conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. How about you, Mr. Naruhodo? Wouldn't you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not gonna let that go, is he? It's curious, though, isn't it? We expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times. This is... It's European-style quiver of arrows. With steel bolts inside. Oh, do you suppose... Crossbow bolts, these, and just the right size of the bow you lot turned up at the exhibition grounds. In other words... Yep, that's more evidence to support your theory. That goes to the Dribber was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the whole scam. This door doesn't want to open. Yeah, it looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it. There's a specialist locksmith on his way over in their yard. My hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector. I could have that lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission. And no one's giving it to you. It looked as though he really enjoyed that. Well, there's no sign of anybody on the other side. No, Dribber must have fled at first sign of danger. Oh? Something wrong, Mr. Zato. Well, I thought I heard a noise from the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too? Yeah, I heard it and all. What you reckon, Toby? Drop on the grease. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard. They just ran away. Someone is in there. Oh, it's rotten bleeding lock. My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were countenanced I can unlock that door less than a minute. Fine, I'll take the rap for it. Just get us through that blasted door. There, you may enter at will. You've confused minutes with seconds, I think. That was of the essence, I feel. Well, jeepers, that was actually pretty sick. Down the port, I suppose. This is an emergency. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. Remember to action, my dear fellow. Yes. Oh yeah, let's do it. It's a fighting game now. Oh my, oh gosh, what's happening here? There is literally dynamite. Oh, why is everything upside down? Rats, there ain't no one here after all. But there must be. It was only moments ago that we heard those noises. Maybe there was a sound of Dripper running away. There's one door in this room. No windows that could afford. Wait, is this room movable? What's that up there? Are there footprints on the ceiling? Tell me, what have we here then? Are you guys not concerned about the dynamite? There's little dynamite. It's like someone was trying to burn something in a hurry. Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints. What did that Professor Harry's farming machine, is it? Blimey, if we had these, there'd have been no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal. There's a great entrance here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. Rope, what's significant about that? Never mind. You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo. Let's investigate the entire room thoroughly before the forensic investigation team arrives, too. It's a very large safe. I don't suppose even Mr. Sholmes could open that lock. Although if you were a thief, you could just steal the entire thing, I suppose. Hold it to the floor to prevent exactly that sort of underhanded trick, Mr. Naruhodo. Well then, you could just steal the floor as well, I suppose. I'm sorry, but you really aren't making any sense at all. We'd agree that whatever is inside must be very important. Oh, he used the furniture to get up top, I think? Almost every piece of furniture upside down, even Mr. Sholmes' suite isn't ever in this much of a mess. You're in no position to comment on mess, Mr. Naruhodo. I suppose it's not quite the same thing, is it? I mean, it's not like it's not messing here per se, it's that everything is literally upside down. Why? There's no denying it there. Is there? There's footprints. Yes, it would appear so. And I simply can't imagine how they came to be here. Isn't there a Susanoo shoot-up or something? Like a Susanoo takedown, I mean? No, a Wonder Woman, Mr. Naruhodo. That would make her almost superhuman, I suppose. Really lovely model. It looks just like a real flying balloon. I guess probably staying afloat on the same principle as a full-size balloon. Using gas, a green flying balloon. It does have the hallmarks of the amazing deception at the Great Exhibition, doesn't it? Could it be that the whole thing was planned here in this very workshop? Mr. Sholmes, have you found something? Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this? Let's see. Never seen anything like it before. Looks like a bundle of thick cigars wrapped in a large watch of... Ah! Mr. Zato, what's the matter? That's a... Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it? What did you say? Time bomb? Sorry, but what is a time bomb exactly? Eh? Ha 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 ha. You're truly one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh my gosh. Nice reference, Keeper. Ah, you don't know nothing, do you, Odo? You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gina? I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Mr. Naruhodo. It's particularly such a no time bomb, though I confess it has a very similar appearance. Oh, well, thank goodness. But then, what is it? I see. So that's it. Goodness. Mr. Sholmes, have you seen to the heart of the matter? There are times when I consider my lot most unfair. I'm fated never to know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself. But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Miss Susato. Here we go. I feel a great deduction coming. Once again, I could draw two conclusions with the scene she performs. The first, the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is a work of Drebber himself. How could you? Second conclusion, that the small device on the floor there is, without question, completely genuine. Please, Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything. Be a pleasure. After all, it's a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade. Oh my gosh. Well, Inspector Grayson seems delighted with the idea anyway. Ha ha ha. You deflected the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Sholmes. Well done. You're too kind, my dear madam. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand just there, Miss Susato. Oh, yes. I'd be delighted. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Holmes is proud to present the logic and reasoning spectacular. The bed, the table, the chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had until recently been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that? I need the key. That's just gravity. It appears the technology has at last succeeded in infuriating us with the great pull of the earth. Gravity in this room was reversed and then restored normally. Goodness. Inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in the old business. I quite understand your skepticism, Mrs. Susato. I too was incredulous at first. However, my conviction analysis was centered when I observed, or cemented when I observed this. Anti-gravity device, almost identical to the one that featured in a dream of mine, and the other day, in fact. Why does it have a clock on it? Most relevant question indeed. That is a timing device that controls the gravity directly. Will switch. Bro, that's dynamite. That's the requirement for the engineer to be able to restore gravity normally. The commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment that restoration occurred. The reason why everything here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. As you see, we need to look no further. Explosion of the state we find in this room. The direction in which the gravity acted was reversed by Mr. Drebber before being restored normally and not manufactured by subtly by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. He's probably locked in the safe. Let's consider the next contender. What was our engineer's friend's name? I'll be the greatest clue we have to explain his actions. Is above our heads. Yeah, those footprints are weird. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us immediately to the truth. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. For Drebber's aim was singular, to escape. However, there is but one way into this room, excepting the skylight. That is... Converted the gravity near Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling. I can escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving these footprints behind on the way. Ceiling here is very high, Mr. Schultz. Is the gravity reversible sudden? Would Mr. Drebber have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently? Line up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. The man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape from the skylight was his only option. I recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. The rope. Reaching intended destination with better tools than the rope. By anchoring one to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Explains how Drebber was able to escape the room before our arrival. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled the view of the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun. Let's conclude Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. She's completely spellbound. Sholmes, there is just one thing that troubles me. I expect nothing less. You are destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life. Thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean? I'd say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century, it's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis. Your old deduction hinted on it. My dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. However improbable it may seem. Huh. Marvelous line, wouldn't you agree? One of those more endearing pearls of wisdom. I was what the exact phrase in my original was. Clumsy. Yeah, I have a feeling I've read something that Mrs. lent me once. Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, the spell's broken at last. The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was. It lonely coils near the wall. But if Mr. Trevor had used it to escape in the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall? Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you'll find new ropes, and as evidence of such. You'll have a look at the mystery we face at the room, now skillfully unraveled. The argument is as circular as the coils of the rope. And perhaps you might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual helping hand. Here are some minor corrections. The great deduction will lead us to the truth. Yes, you're right. Must do it quickly before Enoch Trevor gets too far away. If you're ready, then let us resume. Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. The gravity could have been reversed in this very room. I find the whole idea utterly fascinating, but Sholmes could see such an explanation. Man, until the minute it was a scientific impossibility. So, yes, you're quite right. Let's completely discount the idea at once. Oh, that's unusually merciless of you, Mr. Zato. You've eliminated the impossible. Whatever remains must be the truth. Great detective himself said so, didn't he? Or refusing to part with his dreams of an anti-gravity devices? Yes, I suppose so. Let's see if examining this topsy-turvy scene a little more closely reveals some proof that shows exactly what the gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. Well, I was expecting to find a pretty bunch of flowers in here, that's for sure. Look at that. I know, that slender little vase looks like it's about to topple at any moment, but the flowers are thriving. That makes you think of the fragility of life, wouldn't you say? To be honest, Mr. Naruto, something else about it made a rather deep impression on me. Yeah. Look, Mr. Zato. Everything seems to be upside down in here. Save us conspicuously the right way up. Haven't you noticed? Yes, it's true. Look a little more closely at the safe's feet. Ah, that's a lot of very large bolts fixed into the floor. I think before you speak, that's what you wanted to say, isn't it? I really put my foot in my mouth there. I certainly didn't say that. All furniture is very conspicuous upside down, certainly. Yes, it does immediately put your mind in some strange quirk of gravity. Could it be that a mini whirlwind have asked for you think? I'm not sure that much more plausible than Mr. Sholmes' explanation. Oh dear, saying the first thing that comes into your head isn't the way forward here, it seems. So all the inverted furniture is the same, huh? Is it the safe?
Take that!
The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. Upon my word, Mr. Naruto, you surpassed yourself. I completely turned my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps. No one's trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Schultz. Trust me. You really say it, though it appears at first glance that all the furniture in the room is upside down. This unassuming slender vase is standing keenly to attention. Not like the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. And short, much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all. My deepest sympathies for your loss. Poor Mr. Sholmes. The show must go on, so let us continue with our deductions. We know this contrivance is not in fact an anti-gravity device. There remains but one other possibility. You don't say. We deliberately turned down over every piece of furniture in here. Which might sound obvious, but it leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? Why, and actually there's an explanation. And it's because of the anti-gravity device. It's absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't he? Afraid the lure of exciting scientific explanation is too strong. Well, no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over. Whoever it was must have had a reason. Afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though. Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. Oh, there's someone right on the other side of the armchair. Oh yes, safe. Safe, as in safe and secure? Secure lockable box, I think? Really, more likely. Well, there is a large safe bolted to the floor on the other side of the room, so yeah. You mean this number would let us open it? I wonder why it's written here, though. That's a coal burning heater, I think, isn't it? Yes, it is, but it's not just for heating, you know. You can grill, bake, boil, steam things with it. There's all purposes. That seems like you're having cake and eating it too. Not like a heated kotatsu table with a Nabe hot pot, pecan orange, a cat, and a little relative. Well, you mean it seems too much? But perhaps it does. But you realize only some of these things on your list are edible, don't you? We're established that gravity wasn't actually reversing here, haven't we? In other words, this isn't an anti-gravity device at all. Which makes me very curious to know what sort of device it is. But I think for now it's clear that we're looking for an answer elsewhere. I'm gonna guess it's
Take that!
save combination. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the save combination. Oh, they needed to find the number, or they forgot the code and needed to find it. You had a very similar experience once, did you not? Yes, last year when I brought a lottery ticket notes and the number down on the inside cover of a book just in case. That's it, for people who are forgetful souls at heart and always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think. And what, pray, I'm an ex, Mr. Naruto. When the day of the draw came round, I forgot which book I'd written the number in, and I had to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it, for people who are forgetful souls at heart. I always forget where they've noted things down. And if you always know things in the same place, I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine had something to take it into, and I didn't remember which side. Alright, thank you, Mr. Narrow. I believe I proved my point now. Which is that very similar scenarios clearly unfolded in this room. Plans of requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed the combination code. Really written on the other side of the piece of furniture, but forgot which one. The name of the state in which you now find in the room. Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all the furniture in here in a desperate hurry. Locate the combination lock that would unlock the safe. Let's get to the next conundrum. Sorry, I already read this. I'm not gonna reread it. Give my voice a break. He's probably trying to get out through there and then hit into the safe. Oh, life was so much more simple. Sorry, I didn't read stuff. Life was so much simpler in those halcyon days when gravity could be reversed. It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place. Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail. Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place. A gas balloon, isn't it? It's not, but it seemed to be a real balloon. Yes, I think you're right. I think it's helium that keeps keeping it up. A green gas balloon. Why does it seem to ring a bell with me? If you can see it, there are footprints on this balloon too. Look. Oh yeah, surely there's a clue, isn't it? What it tells us, I'm not really sure. Hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there. Look. Oh yes, and there are more footprints on this little balloon too. As the shoe was thrown up there, it became lodged, do you think? If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. Oh, I wouldn't be throwing shoes up at the ceiling, though. Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid.
Take that!
The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. Closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon. And for what purpose? A green balloon. That seems somewhat familiar. Data. Ah. A piece of green balloon envelope that Mr. Naruto and Iris found at the scene. Inside the green balloon that Mr. Smasher Gotch claims he saw about the situation that occurred was a second birdcage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say, we assume this balloon in here is the model of the one used the other day. There's a strong possibility something may be concealed inside it. So the narrow absconder was desperately trying to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach. That's why he resorted to a projectile and he made the shoe. Well, it's probably Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by sealing it with the shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights. Cinder, thank you for the love. I hope you're doing well. Oh dear, we definitely need to examine the balloon. If only there was some way we could see inside. You recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than the rope? Sholmes has managed to bring the deduction back to the rope. Alright, I have to admit, that was clever. You just throw the rope up to the balloon and then pull it down to us on the ground? Much easier said than done, I feel. Hey, enjoy your lurk, and I hope your paper writing goes well. True, perhaps you need a more surefire method. And we already have one, of course, don't we?
Take that!
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than the crossbow? That's found at the scene, in fact. And all the likelihood belongs to Mr. Drebber. The man had only been brought it away with him that day. He could have avoided losing his shoe at such a critical time as this. Well, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside that balloon? Oh my gosh, it's the professor. A waxwork? Indeed it is. A waxwork head inside a metal mask. As it is shut tight and fastened with a strong and quite impenetrable lock. You can't see the face inside. Just a moment, this is the head of a waxwork model? Does that mean, oh my goodness. I see you joined the dots, Miss Susato. Excellent. Of course. A headless waxwork model. The case of an abducted Madame Tussauds model that you largely solved. But the head of the killer that was still missing. Indeed it was, but I believe Madame Tussauds will now have to settle her sizable account with me. This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous professor. Yes, but why is it here? This conclusively confirms my suspicions. I'm responsible for stealing the professor from Madame Tussauds and returning it, sans tête, earlier today. None other than Enoch Drebber. This is incredible. Professor Harebrain's case and the waxwork abduction are inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop? Well, there's a logical pleasure clues is coming to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, to speak with the architect of this adventure. The architect? You mean Mr. Drebber? That seems quite impossible that he escaped via one of the skylights. Obviously, and must still be here in the room. What? Location should be abundantly clear. We simply reflect on the journey we made together during this deduction. Drebber's right here somewhere in this room? Mr. Naruhodo, will you do the honors? Yes, of course. Mr. Drebber's place must be the...
Take that!
We gained access to this back room. We heard noises from in here. Those that the engineer was still in the building at that point in time. He was in fact searching for the combination to a safe. Press for time made no attempt to right the furniture he had overturned in the process. She introduced that the search for the combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber is at this very moment inside the safe. This concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Wonder the dynamite's like an experiment that he was keeping as like a precious thing and he just had to pitch it out for his own safety. So, Mr. Naruhodo. I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide and seek, don't you? By opening the safe, you mean. What else? Let's see. Combination was 1 4 3 2 5 8 2. I knew that. Alright then, here goes. Oh my. You found me. Are you just a machine, bro? Right, then, Sir Mr. Enoch Drebber, I presume? Correct. Better start talking. You tricked Professor Harebrain with that bogus machine you built. And you shall have to explain the theft of the waxwork of Madame Tussauds as well. Also, I would be delighted to answer your many questions. Firstly, I would advise you deactivate my little parcel first. Deactivate your parcel? For, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in a most prominent position. Ha ha ha, I see. Sun silence. You're all gearing up to die with me then. No! Mr. Schultz, why? With only 7 seconds to spare. That's too close to comfort. I got 1 foot in the grave already. You're trying to help us get a killer or get us killed? Mr. Schultz's deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they? Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. The resemblance of the anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say. Anti-gravity devices don't exist. Oof. I want to push it, Mr. Schultz. What on earth happened in here? You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any further. Everything in here is precisely what it seems. Yeah, you'll be giving it a thorough going over, don't you worry, Trevor. What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop. That was unexpected. When I heard whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt. Whistling? Ah, that would have been me. Oh. For some reason, I woke in fine fettle today. Clearly, I must have a screw loose, though, as I couldn't remember the combination with the safe. Another one loose, as I couldn't remember on which piece of furniture I'd written it down. I was about to rope over by the wall. Yes, I'd hoped to exit through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So I then set about searching for the combination code to open the safe. For any incriminating blueprints, don't forget. Regrettably, though, you failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among the rafters. After that, you hid yourself inside the safe, having first set this parcel ticking. Well, I had no intention of being nailed by the police. Got a death wish, have you, hiding right beside a ticking time bomb? Please, why do you suppose I chose to hide inside the safe? It's an ordinary safe. It's specially designed. A dynamite explosion wouldn't have left a scratch on it. So in fact, the safe was the only safe place. Precisely. Once you climbed inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again. I invite you to look more closely. This safe is fitted with a handle on the inside to allow the door to be unlocked from within. Ah, so it is. I always intended to blow this place to smithers in any case. I just wasn't expecting uninvited guests to come along and screw up my plans. You mean to say you're planning to blow us all up? No. That was unforeseen. What do you mean? Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. I calculated the time required for retreat to a safe distance and then set the device accordingly. You're a seemingly endless discourse and you're through a spanner in the works. Something wrong, Gregson? Do I have something on my face besides the usual eyes, ears, noses, and mouth? I think we have a fairly good idea what's been going on here now. What about the 2 incidents you've evidently been involved in recently? Professor Hairbrain's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Great Exhibition. And the waxwork model you stole, which this head belongs to. That's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the professor. Clad in a mask with a luck so short I'm unable to open it safely to reveal the killer's identity. I'm gonna consider carrying it around as protection. After all, that's enough. What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here. Yes, well, Dr. Sith again? The forensic investigation team right here. I don't remember if it's Scythe or Sith. And I know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer access to him? If Shahar knew of this, you'd be finished. You lot, leave at once. My dear madam, there's no need for such a threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's no way to greet an old acquaintance, is it, Dr. Sith? Hello, Sholmes. Sholmes knows Dr. Sith. It's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face. You are quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell, you. Get out. But of course, with sorrow, so at the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. It would appear that our delightful and terminating investigations have run their course for today. Mr. Sholmes. Let's leave this place in the doctor's capable hands. I said get out, now, all of you. Presence here is not required either, Gregson. Understood. I'll just say one thing before I head off. If it wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we never have found this place. The whole workshop would have been blown to bits. There was a time bomb set in here that this lot disarmed. Inspector. Something giving you a chuckle, has it, Drebber? So sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. You did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yes, you did disarm that one. Eh? What are you? That one? You mean? Heh. What the heck? This guy is stupidly sus. Get this guy in jail. What the heck? An hour later that we heard the news of the enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage of the Great Exhibition. Mr. Harebrain's invention and all its secrets were blown away forever. Obviously, this guy is guilty. What the heck? This pisses me off. I'm actually pissed. This guy is extremely scummy. Oh. I'm gonna get this guy. But it's gonna have to wait till next time on Great Ace Attorney 2. We got through pretty good today. Oh my gosh. I am ready for action. Can't wait to continue this later this week. But until then, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a great evening. See you next time. Bye.